guys, it's Jill with Simply Made Unique by Jill, and welcome back to my cute thrift store bookcase makeover. This is going to be part 3 today, where we're going to accent, stencil, and seal. So if you caught part 1 and part 2, part 1 I went over cleaning, priming, getting your furniture ready to be painted, and the products that I used and why I used them. Part 2 was painting the base coat, accenting the backboard, and getting it ready for all the accents I'm going to be doing today. So that was straight up painting, sanding, that kind of thing. Now I use a lot of Dixie Belle paint products. I also use Wise Owl primer. This is because I like a chalk mineral based paint. I like the blending capabilities, I like the accenting, I like the range of colors from Dixie Belle. That's not to say that you can't use a different paint. When you're using chalk paint, you do need to seal it. Where some of the other paints like Fusion and other ones like that, they have a sealer built in and you don't have to seal it. But I am going to go over sealing today since I'm using a mineral chalk paint and it does need to be sealed. And again, I use the Wise Owl primer for 2 reasons. To make sure I have really good adhesion with my paint, because this is something that people are going to be putting things on and off of. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get any chipping or anything in my paint, which could happen with a high use piece. That's why I chose that primer. Second, I didn't want to get bleed through on this piece because it was like a pine, oak, light maple colored wood. I didn't want any of those tannins coming through to the light blue color. Again, these are products I choose because they're products that I like. Of course, there's 100 products out there. There's 100 opinions about them. You have to choose what you like. I'm just giving you the basics of what I do and hope that it's helpful to somebody. All right, we're gonna hop right over onto this little piece that I bought for a few dollars at a thrift store. It was completely outdated, and now it's gonna be updated and super adorable. I'm sure somebody's gonna love it. So let's get right on to accenting our little piece. I'll see you in a second. Let's stencil. This is a large repeat pattern stencil called Circles from Aussie Decor Transfers. You're also going to need some daubers. I do better with daubers than I do with a brush because I can control how much paint is on them. These come in 4 different sizes. They come in about 5 packs in a bag together off of Amazon for just a couple dollars. These were perfect for this project since I'm using multiple colors of paint. Also going to need a good painter's tape. Make sure you don't use masking tape as you don't want to pull off any of the paint that you just newly, freshly painted. Painter's tape will help with that problem. We're going to get a nice big piece and we're going to add this stencil secure to the top. We're going to make sure it's level, and I'm going to have to move it later to finish the pattern. So I'm going to just make sure it's level, centered down the middle of my piece, and give it a big old piece of tape to make sure it doesn't come loose on me while I'm trying to stencil. Once that's secure, there is parts of the circle so that I'm not going to paint. So I'm going to get paint through here and here, but I don't want to paint these parts up here because later on I'm going to have to reposition the stencil and I want it to look uniformed. So I'm going to give myself little reminders with pieces of tape where I don't want to paint right now. Then while I'm concentrating on painting, I'll make sure to leave them blank. So when I move it later on the top and the bottom, I'll have that uniform circle done at the same time. And I'm just going to finish this up and give it one more piece of tape along the bottom. Now it's time to add paint. I do have a little cutting board with plastic on it with my 3 colors on. I'm going to start with my medium tone and then I'm going to come through with my darker and lighter tones as I go through, picking up each color at the end and kind of blending them together. So I'll have a very varied look. I do keep my finger on the stencil because it is a large area to cover and I want to make sure it's secure. So I'm going to speed you guys up a little bit as I go through the process of adding the other colors. Now that this middle part is all complete, we're going to move our stencil to the top, then to the bottom, taping it off, and doing the same thing. Here we go. Now that our stenciling is complete, we're going to add some accents in our lightest color. We're going to take a brush like this and put a tiny bit of paint on a dry brush, and then have something to dab the paint off until you see very little on the brush. This is only an accent, and you're going to go very lightly around all the edges. So start running your brush along all your edges to make a little bit of a distressing or a worn look. You want to hit any of the key parts that would have been worn if this piece had just been left alone painted, like somebody had touched it many times and just gave it that little bit of a distressed feel. You're going to do this on all edges until you're happy with the look. Now it's time to seal. I like to seal with a sponge, a wet sponge, and Dixie Belle clear coat. I'm using flat here. You're going to take a small amount, evenly distribute your sponge, and lightly go over your entire piece. Don't overwork the finish, and make sure you go with the way that you painted or with the grain. You're going to do this over your whole piece with a light hand, and the second coat will even it out if you miss any spots. Alright everyone, that completes part 3 of our little vintage bookcase makeover. Again, I found this at a thrift store. It seemed like nobody wanted it. It was only a couple dollars, and look how fab it looks now. I'll make sure you get a better view of the stencils on the side, the whole thing round and round. Today we went over stenciling, accenting, and lastly putting a flat coat on here. That was Dixie Belle flat clear coat. That's just to give it extra protection. I might even waterproof the top with gator hide, just in case somebody ever puts a drink or something on it. I think this little piece would look adorable in a kid's room or a sunroom or something like that. So I'm sure somebody's gonna love it now, and I'm so thankful that you guys came and followed me on these 3 parts. There will be a part 4, but that'll be filmed on Aussie Decor's site, and I'll upload it here so you can see me put a little bit of a transfer down here of a cute little plant just to tie the whole thing together, give it a little interest inside here. If you guys loved this video or found anything helpful, please press subscribe so you can see my videos as soon as they come out. I appreciate you all. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram, where I do a lot of live videos and everything else. I appreciate you joining in, and I'll see you guys again soon. Have a great day.